Join UF Hall of Famer and 14-year NFL vet Shane Matthews every weekday as he brings you all you need to know about your Florida Gators, including news, analysis, and opinions with some of the biggest names in sports. Find us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, Google Podcast, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcast. Or watch us live at 8 a.m. on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter.
Good morning. Welcome to a Thursday edition of the program, Pot Up with Matthews in the Morning, from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. Large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Glad you're along for the ride. Got a lot to talk about. We're going to have our college football analyst, Brent Beaird, tell us what's going on in college football around the world. We're going to have Edgar back on. Edgar has been covering the Jaden Rashada disaster, nightmare, however you want to phrase it. I think it's just totally ridiculous, the entire situation, quite honestly. I'll chime in on that, but he's going to join us as well because he's got a lot of inside information. Let's go to the Titan MR Hotline. We're joined by Brent Beaird. You can follow Brent on Twitter at Brent Beaird. Good morning, Brent. How are you, my man?
Shane, doing well. Good to hear from you. We're out of games, unfortunately, but there's still plenty to deal with in the world of college football.
There's no question about that. Your Georgia Bulldogs are the national champs, and they ain't going anywhere. The NCAA is trying to do something about the transfer portal. Can you give us an update on that?
Yeah, this is big stuff here, frankly. The Division I Council, and again, this is the next few weeks, a lot of these groups, conventions, coaches meetings, NCAA meetings are going on. Division I Council has voted unanimously to update the guidelines for the waiver process for undergraduates. Now, this is not graduate students. This is undergraduates who are transferring for a second time. Now, each request will be evaluated on a case-by-case basis. But moving forward, student athletes must meet at least one of the following criteria to be granted a waiver to compete immediately. The first one is a demonstrated physical injury or illness or mental health condition that necessitated the student's transfer. Supporting documentation, care plans, and proximity of the student support system will be considered. That's one. Two, circumstances that clearly necessitate a student athlete's immediate departure from the previous school: physical assault, abuse, sexual assault, unrelated to the student athlete's athletic participation. All other guidelines will no longer be used for waiver requests to compete in 23-24 season. The council agreed that athletic reasons, lack of playing time, position preference, and academic preferences should not warrant waiver relief. So that is what we're dealing with that, and we'll see how that helps, and hopefully that will cut down on some of these guys who have a need to transfer 3 or 4 times.
Yeah, no question. Brent, also, Greg Sankey, the commissioner of the Southeastern Conference, wants changes. A lot of it having to do with the early signing period. What do you think about that?
It needs to happen. We made a mistake. We thought we were doing the right thing, but frankly, it's just caused further confusion and pressure on coaches. Now, for Sankey to say this and admit what he did, I thought was important. He said, we're crushing coaches in December. And look, when you think about it, I mean, you've got bowl games, some championship or playoff games. You've got finals. You've got early signing day. You've got the transfer portal. So what the AFCA Executive Director Todd Berry has said, that they are interested in moving the early signing date before the transfer portal opens. Now, he threw out a couple of dates, like the first Wednesday in December or right after Thanksgiving. Look, I don't know what the perfect date is, but it's not the middle of December. And frankly, I think they need to get it out of December to begin with, and either move it to late summer or go back to the first Wednesday in February and just deal with that. So, the intention was good with the middle of December, but they've just found out that it no longer works. It creates too much pressure. And if that's going on, you can change your schedule, change it.
Yeah. Todd Blackledge, who's one of the best color guys, I believe, on TV in college football, he is heading to NBC, and I wasn't aware that NBC was going to be doing a Big Ten game.
Yes.
What's going to happen? Are they no longer covering the Fighting Irish?
No, I'll say this. I haven't heard that's changed. That they're still covering Notre Dame, from what I understand. But what they've done is they have offered Todd Blackledge enough money to get him out of ESPN. So he will be teamed with Noah Eagle, who is the son of Ian Eagle, who currently works for CBS. Now get this. Noah Eagle is 26 years old. He would be the lead voice for NBC's Big Ten Saturday Night Football package, which begins this year. Shane, that's not bad for being 26 years old, is it?
No, and I've actually heard him on different broadcasts. I don't know if it was basketball or smaller version of college game. He's good. He's real good. His dad is outstanding. I think he'll be fine, especially with Blackledge by his side. Shane Beamer got a raise at South Carolina. Did you know this, Brent, before you jump into the salaries of the SEC coaches? Shane Beamer, everybody's excited about Shane Beamer.
Mm-hmm.
He has the same exact record as Will Muschamp had at this time.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think what's happened is when you're able to beat your rivals, i.e., Tennessee and Clemson in the same year, that's what's made the difference. So Shane went from like 2.5 to a considerable raise at 6.5. So, look, if you're an SEC coach, you're doing rather well, to say the least. For the sake of brevity here, I won't go into all of them, but I do want to point out that Josh Heupel is making $5 million, and I understand there's probably, according to Chris Lowe, a pretty big raise coming for him, and you can understand that because he got Tennessee relevant this year. And again, I don't know what that raise is going to be, but he will be in the upper echelon too.
Yep. Let's get to the Titan MR text line. Alan in Atlanta has a text, and I couldn't agree more. And we'll touch on this with Brent, but mostly with Edgar Thompson because he was on this pretty much 24 hours yesterday. Regarding Rashada, you can't believe everything you read, but if there was actually a $13 million contract on the table, this isn't college football anymore. That is stupid money. I'm growing more cynical by the day about where this is going, and I won't be participating with collectives to enable it. I was going to say, if the $13 million is accurate, I'm embarrassed for our university. Yeah. I'm just going to say that. I'm embarrassed as a Gator. I'm embarrassed as an alumnus. I'm embarrassed as a former player. Whoever decided to do that, it's stupidity. That is more than majority of the players in the National Football League make.
Yeah.
I mean, think about that. And it's just, it's ridiculous. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I don't care if it was $3 million. It's stupidity. Okay, enough of that. We'll talk more about it as we go. Brent, I mean, how do you feel about this?
Well, I mean, I'm on board with you on this. Now again, what I have heard is the money that we're hearing about is actually nowhere near what it actually is. But the other thing is, now I've seen about, and I'm going to defer to Edgar on this, who does a really good job. I've seen reports like you have that are conflicting. I've seen reports from supposedly from his father Harlan that all this will be straightened out this week. But I heard someone talk about this yesterday, and they summed it up well. They said what NIL used to really be it was going to be a supplement. Now it's an incentive, and that's where we've got it wrong. Is we're giving these guys incentives as they come out of high school. I mean, this is basically what people used to do in the NCAA. We put them on probation for. Now it's illegal. But and the other thing is, and I heard someone in the Gator media say this yesterday, and it has some merit. Said if he doesn't want to be at Florida, do you want him at Florida? So there are a lot of tentacles to this too. Yeah.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. This is all about who's going to pay me more money, not about I want to go play for this school. It is just absolutely ridiculous and embarrassing that whoever I don't believe it. I mean, I have to believe it because it's there, but I don't like I said, I don't care if it's 2 million, 3 million, 13, 100 million. It's totally ridiculous. Your buddy Jimmy Himes up in Tennessee, who's been covering the Vols for many, many years, is retiring.
Yes, on March 31st, Jimmy said he is. My brother was telling me this last night. They had Jimmy on his radio station in Huntsville, Alabama, and Jimmy said that he wrote his first story at 12 years old. And that he was, now get this, Shane, that he was a sports editor for a newspaper when he was 16 years old. So that lets you know how long he has been, but well respected is Jimmy Himes. Does a good job on radio, really good writer. And he's still going to keep his finger in the pie, shall we say, and do a little bit. But as far as the daily grind of sports, he is going to be stepping aside on March 31st.
Are you in the market to buy or sell your home? Doreen Weavy, a realtor with Caldwell Banker M.M. Parrish, will provide you fast, friendly, reliable service. Give her a call today at 352-562-1411 to help your dreams come true. Speaking with Brent Beaird on the Titan More Hotline. I'm not sure if Facebook Live is working right now. Maybe you can click over to YouTube or another entity to follow our program. Brent, let's go around the league. Alabama had a really good win in the Sugar Bowl. They're going to lose some really good players, but they have good players coming in. Yes. My question to you is, who's going to play quarterback for them next year? There is no way in the world they are going to play whoever they play in the opener with Jalen Milroe at quarterback. I just cannot fathom that.
Well, look, I agree with that totally. Jalen Milroe is a good kid, but he is not an accurate passer. I mean, the last few times he's gotten to play, he played a decent amount against Austin Peay, threw an interception. That was horrible. Got to play in the Sugar Bowl for a little bit. He threw a pass, trying to get it to a receiver who was 10 yards down the field. The pass went about 5 yards down the field. So, but the reality is that their quarterback really is Ty Simpson, who's a kid from Tennessee, who I think probably may be the future of the program once he gets up and going. I frankly, it would help them to bring in a transfer portal quarterback just to settle that room down and to give them some experience. I'm not saying he's going to do that, but your question is a question everyone is asking with that too. But again, they've got some really good guys who are coming back. They love this Caleb Downs, who's a 5-star defensive back who's coming in. As a matter of fact, they've got a quarterback commitment, Dylan Logerin, and Eli Hosteen is a kid from New Orleans. So those are names that people may not be familiar with, so they're trying to figure that out. And Justin Iborjabi, who's a defensive lineman, had some health issues, is hoping to come back for another year. Shane, have you heard the Eli Gold statement? Alabama's play-by-play guy, who did not do any of the broadcasting this year. Chris Stewart did, who also does Alabama basketball. He said he has a treatable form of cancer and hopes to be back by the 8A game. So certainly wish Eli well, that he'll be back soon.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Tremendous voice, covering the Crimson Tide for many, many years. Joseph says, crazy we hired Ben Chase as head of the NIL the day before this goes public with Rashada. That shows that we at least knew there's issues and proactively working on fixing those issues. I mean, whoever the NIL issue is, whoever made this offer needs to check themselves out. And I think they've gotten rid of whoever that was, if I'm not mistaken. Mike says here on Facebook Live, brought to you by Mellon Law, Brent's right. When all this started, it's supposed to give all the players some spending money. Now elite get big bucks and other athletes take their date to the cafeteria. It's absolutely the most ridiculous thing going on in sports, period.
Yes.
Nobody will ever change my mind. I said it when it started, that it was never going to be what it was intended to be. And it's crazy. Jesse says here, before we move on, Shane, I was on Instagram last night and Kelby Collins was on live with about 3 current players showing off his beautiful place that has a balcony that you can see the swamp from, saying how blessed he was. He's also said that he doesn't listen to the media because they always trying to stir up crowd. It's a very long text. But yeah, they're in a very nice place across the street from the stadium, no question. I think it's called the Stadium House or Stadium Place or something like that. Brent, let's move on. Auburn, anything going on the Plains?
Some movement as far as players are concerned. Purdue defensive tackle Lawrence Johnson has announced his commitment to Auburn. Former LSU linebacker DeMario Tolan has signed with Auburn. Also, they have made a real commitment to get offensive linemen in this class. They've got 8 of them in a 5-year period. This is amazing. Auburn landed a total of 16 offensive linemen, high school, JUCO, and transfer. So they had to beef that up too. And by the way, former Texas A&M and Auburn quarterback Zach Calzada is committed to Incarnate Word, who's had a string of really good quarterbacks. TJ Finley is going to be, he's with the team in winter workouts, but still not sure. If you ask me who the quarterback at Auburn is going to be this fall, I couldn't tell you because he may not be on campus yet.
Yes, we got a text here on the Titan More text line. An anonymous texter saying that $13 million, if true, has to be spread out over 4 years. If not, then this 18-year-old will be the highest paid person in the building, including the coach. Even if it's spread out for 4 years, he's highest paid guy other than the head coach.
Yeah.
Nobody else on campus is making that. Even if it's spread out. That's why it's ridiculous. I mean, I looked up like Joe Burrow and Jalen Hurts and them only making they're barely making a couple $1 million this year, and they're legit quarterbacks. Matt says Walker Howard is in the portal. Go get him now. That's who they wanted from day one. But word is he's going to TCU. A couple other LSU players transferred to TCU. But yeah, Walker Howard has a very good relationship with Billy Napier. That was well documented last year. But he has entered the transfer portal from LSU. He's a better player. I've watched them both on tape. Walker Howard is a better player, a better quarterback, I should say, in my opinion, than Jaden Rashada. So I don't know what all is going to happen there. Titan MRI text line from Andy. He says, Brent, do you think Stetson Bennett will ever take a snap in a regular season NFL game?
Well, I mean, you just don't know. I mean, is he the prototype quarterback? And Shane can give us more on this, but because he's played the game, is he the prototype quarterback? I would say no, but I still say that if you can read defenses and you can throw the ball accurately, you will get a shot from somebody.
Yeah, I don't even. He'll probably get drafted really, really late, and he may make the roster, but he's not going to be given much of an opportunity. I'll just say that. That's just how those guys think in that league. They want the big, strong arm guys that they think they can make. Think they can make them learn how to play quarterback. But it never happens. This dude can play quarterback. It's a shame he's that size. It is what it is. So anyway, Brent, give us some other news and notes going on around the league.
Yeah, I'll be glad to do that. We'll go to now Georgia. I know everybody's heard a lot about Georgia, but again, Stetson Bennett, speaking of him, Georgia's first 4,000-yard man in total offense. That's incredible to think about that. Here's to me the stat that summed up Georgia's year. Stetson Bennett's the first quarterback in NCAA history to play 15 games and get sacked just 9 times. Single-digit sacks in that many games is amazing, the job that offensive line did for him. Carson Beck from Jacksonville may be your Georgia quarterback next year, so we will talk about that. Kentucky lands North Carolina transfer Keyshawn Silver. Brendan Bates, who's a tight end, has announced he's coming back. Leon Cohen, the former Kentucky offensive coordinator, is back. He signed a 3-year deal, $1.7 million this year. Cavassier Smoke is committed to Colorado, and Dion. Now, as Shane mentioned a minute ago, the LSU quarterback situation going into 2023, Jaden Daniels, Garrett Nussmeier. I still wonder, Shane, if someone doesn't pride Garrett Nussmeier away. He's a pretty good quarterback and really showed it toward the end of the season. So they've got a good quarterback room there also. Mississippi State former Auburn offensive line coach Will Friend has been hired there. He's going back forward to several different schools. And Missouri defensive lineman Trajan Jeffcoat has entered the transfer portal. Also, they have a new offensive coordinator at Missouri, Fresno State guy, Kirby Moore would be his name. Ole Miss has lost defensive lineman Isaiah Aiton to the transfer portal along that line, too. If people haven't heard this, Spencer Rattler's coming back at South Carolina, 3,000 yards. We got to see him up close and personal in the Gator Bowl. 2, at Tennessee, they promoted Joey Hazelin to offensive coordinator. So that is who is having that role. And I think most people probably heard this, but Bobby Petrino has joined the Texas A&M staff after having a cup of coffee at UNLV. So you've got on that staff now Bobby Petrino, DJ Durkin, and Steve Adazio that's on that A&M staff as they hope to get their act together next season.
Well, Petrino can call plays. A lot of people are talking about these NFL quarterback salaries. Y'all are misunderstanding what they're making per year. Those are signing bonuses they get. Jalen Hurts this year, his contract, he is making $1.1 million to play quarterback. Mac Jones' salary this year is $1.3 million. Justin Fields is $1.5 million. Trevor Lawrence is only making $2.3 million this year. Justin Herbert, another playoff quarterback, is making $3 million this year. Tua's making $3 million. They're still on their rookie contracts. So the point of it is nobody in college football should even be making anywhere near what a professional guy who was drafted in the first round, who has proven himself. And it just irritates the hell out of me, and I am embarrassed about it. Chris says here from Cottondale on the Titan MR text line, people think you need talent to win, which I agree, but you kill the culture of the whole program by giving a kid that much money and you won't win anyway. You need really good talent, but equaled with great culture, you can be successful and sustain it. I agree. 110%.
That's a good point.
Yeah. So it's a mess, and I'm sick about it. Brent, before we let you go, let's get to this day in sports. I want you to hear this. Comfort Temp is our business. At Comfort Temp, comfort is our business. Peace of mind is our promise. Beat the summer heat. Schedule your air conditioners tune up today. Give them a call today at 352-376-2366. This day in sports, in 1992, and I never heard about this. This is when I graduated from college. The highest scoring NCAA basketball game was played. Troy beat DeVry Hoyas 258-149. How's that possible? I don't know how that is possible.
I mean, that's like giving somebody we'll start the game 100-0.
Yeah.
Really. No, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I'm thinking here you would have to almost just one team shoot and they score. They throw the ball in, the other team shoots, they score within about 2 or 3 seconds of each other. That's about the only way that could happen.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Brent, we appreciate your time. Real quick, what's the vibe like over in Jacksonville? They're people fired up, aren't they?
Oh yeah, they are. Now look, now you played and you understand this. They're improved, but they've also been very fortunate that a lot of the teams they played did not have their starting quarterback. Now that's not the issue Saturday night. Justin Herbert's going to play, so that can make a big difference. And they were, look, I'm just being realistic here. They were very fortunate to beat Tennessee because Tennessee outplayed them for most of that game. And frankly, I'm not sure that was a fumble. I think it was. You could make the argument that was his arm was going forward. But anyway, no one's turning that. No one's arguing that call around here. But Shane, you understand the playoffs. It's a different animal, and there's different pressure there also. So they need to be careful and not be too overconfident going into this game.
No doubt about it. Brent, have a great weekend, my man. We'll talk to you next week.
Look forward to it, pal. Take care.
That's Brent Beaird. Join us on the Titan MR hotline. Got to take a timeout. Come back. We're going to have Edgar Thompson back on. He's been all over this Jaden Rashada nightmarish situation. He'll give us a breakdown on it. You're watching and listening to Pot Up with Matthews in the morning from the Crime Prevention Security System Studios. We'll be right back.
We want to take this moment to thank our sponsors who keep the show going and pay the bills. Our premium sponsors are Crime Prevention Security Systems, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Titan MRI, Gainesville's only locally owned and operated MRI facility. Meldon Law, the only official injury and accident law attorneys of the Florida Gators. Peaceland Dental, Gator Nation's first choice for dentistry in Port Charlotte. Comfort Temp, comfort is our business, peace of mind is our promise.
Campus USA Credit Union.
QC Kinetics, live pain-free with QC Kinetics. Dave & Buster's, eat, drink, play, and watch. Our gridiron sponsors are Auto ER, UF Bookstores, Celebration Point Town Center, Chris Doring Mortgage, Silverback Concrete Co., Ruse Ogre State Farm Insurance, Doreen Wibby, Realtor Caldwell Banker, MM Parish. Our touchdown sponsors are Adams Ribs, Gator Dominoes, Celebrate Primary Care, Gator Bait Media, Okido America, Style Cuts, Ironwood Golf Course, Big Mills Cheesesteak, McDonald's of Gainesville, 84 Lumber, Tropical Smoothie Cafe, Aver and Smith, Dowling Signs, Baker's Sporting Goods,
Silver Q Billiards and Sports Bar. If you're interested in promoting your business on the show, call Freddie at 352-284-3733. If you like what we're doing here, make sure to follow us and support the businesses that support us.
Welcome back to the Crime Prevention Security System Studios, large enough to serve you, small enough to care. Celebration points where the Gators go to celebrate with premium brands like Nike, International Diamond Center, Dave & Buster's, Palmetto Moon, Escape Apology, Visors Rooftop, and the HBC's restaurant, Spurrier's Gridiron Grill, the #1 celebrity polished casual restaurant in America. We'll see you at Celebration Point where the Gators go to celebrate. Going to go back to the Titan Tomorrow hotline. We're joined by Orlando Sentinel's Edgar Thompson. Edgar, before we jump into this mess, a good story. You were at Spurrier's Gridiron Grill the other night with the women's basketball team dinner where they got a little small NIL deal, which was probably worth it. Give us a brief synopsis of that, or you may be writing a story about it, so I don't want you to give that away. But
that's fine.
How'd it go?
Yeah, no, I'm actually working on a bigger story on the coach, Kelly Ray Finley, who's such an impressive person and took over a real mess and has just created like an environment over there. A winning program. I mean, the SEC's tough, and they're in a little bit of a skid right now, but I think 3 of her top players really aren't even like available right now. Bottom line, she's rebuilding the program. The girls, the young women were there and they each got up and spoke and were telling their stories. And some of the stories are just fantastic. And these young women are so poised and impressive. It was great. So they're getting a small NIL deal. They're getting $1,000, I believe, each. And then they're maybe going to get another check like that at the end of the season. And plus they're just getting opportunities within the community. There were some people there, business leaders. Hey, tell your story, meet some people. And that's the way NIL was kind of supposed to work. Okay. It wasn't supposed to work where you're signing high school athletes to mega deals so you can like get them on campus and then they're leveraging various schools to get, more money, which is where we're at with the Jaden Rashada thing. But, and I'm not down on the kid per se, it's the system I'm down on and the setup. And it's absurd the way this thing was set up or not set up. And, here we are, we can discuss. But yes, the women's basketball team is that's the way it's supposed to be done. These young women are getting $1,000 and they're all like clapping and excited.
Yeah. Before we move on to Rashada, also speaking about Celebration Point, Coach Spurrier is going to have a street named after him. It'll be a ceremony out there on February the 10th in Celebration Point. They need to rename University Avenue, in my opinion, Steve Spurrier, whatever, but that's for another day.
Well, they might be renaming the field Jaden Rashada Field.
He's going to be making more money than anybody on campus except Billy Napier. Okay. I'm embarrassed about the entire situation, quite honestly, that we even offered this kid $2 million, much less we don't know what the truth is, Edgar. Maybe you can let us know what's kind of going on, what you've learned.
Well, the truth is the young man, this is based on multiple people. And then I even got like a message after my story posted, because you're always a little nervous when you post something and it's got a figure of $13 million a kid agreed to in a contract. And this wasn't just a verbal agreement. And got a message right after the story posted from someone involved in the reporting of this story and goes, hey, good job on that. That's the same figure I heard, but wasn't really able to go with because for whatever reason, editors or whatever. Bottom line is, kid's getting a deal. Now, this isn't paid up front $13 million. It's going to be over the course of his career.
It doesn't matter. It's still stupid.
No, I think the upfront money is supposed to be $1 million. I didn't put that in there necessarily. That's what I heard, but that's more like, I think that's the truth versus knowing. Look, the bottom line is he and his family originally went to Miami or committed to Miami. And you have John Ruiz, the billionaire booster down there, who's cutting checks to everybody in the world down there, and has helped them land a superlative signing class with a lot of 5-star talent. And the young man was reportedly going to get $9.5 million there. And then he ends up changing his commitment on November 10th, 11th range to the Gators, was at the South Carolina game on senior days, November 12th. And you're thinking, God, they got him from Miami. That must not have been true, what was going on at Miami. I was hearing Rashada was going to get $500,000 to come here. That was the rumor then. And I'm like, okay, that Miami stuff was all BS. Apparently not, because they were outbidding Miami, which is interesting because Billy, who isn't like doing this deal, he can't do this deal. This deal is being done by the collective, that doesn't even have $13 million. This collective apparently hasn't even raised $1 million yet. They do have big money boosters, and we know the usual suspects there. Their names are on buildings all over campus if fans want to go figure out who we're talking about. But they do have people with the money to pay this. But the collective put the deal together, apparently. And Billy did not want to get in bidding wars and paying players not contributing to the program. He wanted to reward people in the program. Well, now here we are. They're doing what other schools have been doing for a while and kind of playing catch up in that space, and it's biting them in the butt. And these, if the Rashadas don't come, apparently there's a conversation that's going to be had between the father and the family, the representatives of both sides, whatever. And this is reported by 24/7 Sports Brandon Huffman, who's been on top of it because he seems to know, or he does know the father. I've not spoken to the father, Harlan Rashada. They're trying to salvage this thing, the Gators.
I don't know why. Why do it?
Because they could get a lawsuit. I mean, filed against the collective and maybe the university tied to the collective. And then things come out. You don't want to come out. I don't know. Maybe I'd let the kid out of his scholarship papers, get him to sign an NDA, and give him some cash, whatever. You're going to give him something and just move on.
Yes.
Not saying he's not a good kid. I enjoyed meeting him January 3rd at the Under Armour game. Right. He was great. He's fantastic. But it's just like, it's going to be a constant headache with this family, it appears to me.
I can't agree more. Ruse Ogre State Farm Office is a team of dedicated insurance professionals ready to help life go right with the right insurance options for you and your family. Give OgreInsurance.com a call, 352-240-1770. What was I getting? Oh, so I lost my train of thought there because I'm so distraught.
Well, may I say one other thing?
Yeah.
You know why we're just like the question might be why, how did we get here? Forget all the laws and everything that went into place July 1, 2020. Leading up to that, I believe UF was like, hold on, we're going to take a wait and see attitude, right? There are a lot of restrictions in Florida. Some states don't have their patchworks of state laws. I mean, there's not one overruling law on this right now. And Florida has a little more restrictions than some others. So the Gators were taking a wait and see attitude, did not put a staff in place, a robust staff to address this. Billy comes in, he has an NIL person. This NIL person is helping various programs all over campus as well as football. So you're just kind of falling behind in a hugely important area. Whether you like it or not, it's the game, right? It's like, right. You if you're playing the game, you're playing the game. If you're not, fine, don't coach. Don't be involved. But if you are, this is the game now. So you better be good at it. And I don't think I think they fell behind the chains on this thing. And they're trying to catch up now, man. They're putting more staffing in place soon. There's a young man who's starting in like 11 days, I believe, that's going to be involved in NIL. The collective seems to be getting new leadership in place soon, and they're going to get this thing up and rolling. But for now, it's a train wreck and it's bad optics. I don't care if Billy Napier wasn't involved. Okay. If Scott Strickland wasn't involved in this deal, guaranteed that wasn't the case. But everyone with Scott Strickland gone now because of this, which is absurd. But that's what you're dealing with now because they're going to look at the people that are in charge. You're not going to look at some dude in a collective who got a bad deal written with this family. I mean, that's the problem.
Right. That's the problem. The problem is our big, if I understand correctly, our big donors who are usually supporting these type of investments had nothing to do with this. It came from the other portion, and they hadn't had the money. So anyway, it's a mess. It's embarrassing. Is Walker Howard a potential candidate for us?
Well, I mean, ESPN's reporting that he's leaving LSU, and Florida and TCU are possible destinations. So
because that people may not know who Walker Howard is, but he's from the state of Louisiana, highly rated quarterback who signed with LSU. He grew up an LSU fan, but was very tight with Billy Napier. Billy Napier wanted this kid. Now, I don't know if there's any way we get him. I'm pretty sure he's going to TCU, quite honestly, but he's a better player than Jaden Rashada from what I've seen on tape.
Well, Jaden Rashad is a nice natural thrower from what I've seen on tape, but he's not. You look at his numbers; he's 60% the last 2 seasons, 57% a couple years ago. I mean, that's not like superlative accuracy, especially in this day and age of offenses and the way that defenses are restricted with all the targeting and holding and all this stuff, right? I mean, it's an offensive game. 60% is not like great. So that's why when we had our Graham Mertz back and forth last week or whenever it was, I mean, he's 59%. I mean, you need better accuracy than that, man. But anyway, bottom line is, yeah, Walker Howard's got to be on the radar now, you think. I mean, Brock Heward's kid just left Washington. I'm not saying he's going to come all the way from Seattle to Gainesville, but this guy was super highly touted. So there are guys out there that you can replace Rashada with in the portal.
Yes, for sure. Okay, so Edgar, give us some good news before we let you go.
I don't
your
know that
sources. Well, your sources told me that they have spoken with a lot of college coaches about Graham Mertz.
Oh, it in my sources. Jesse Simonton is my boy. He works for On3 Sports. Terrific guy. Give him a follow on Twitter. He's a good man and a really good writer and reporter. Gainesville guy. He and his wife just moved back here, and she's like a doctor at Shands. She's so impressive. She's like 35, running an apartment at Shands. He was at the AFCA, the Football Coaches Association, the summit up there in Charlotte, talking to some Gator coaches, talking to some other coaches who are just high on Graham Mertz, man. They feel like they can really get something out of this kid. I wouldn't be stunned based on his high school rating and the fact he did play for a very conservative offense at Wisconsin. I will give you that. But his body of work has not been overly impressive. 38 and 26 TD interception, 59-ish% completion. But hey, you're playing in the Big Ten in bad weather in an offense that's run-oriented. Maybe they get him down here and get him going. But, you need to put people around him. And, I mean, the Gators still need to add pieces around him. Maybe some of these young freshman receivers can impact early. Pearsall's back. Xavier Henderson. Be nice to get a tight end in the mix. But look, they got bigger problems right now just in terms of getting this situation resolved, putting a bow on it one way or the other, get the kid here or not, and just moving past this and looking like a competent organization over there.
Yeah, and just personally, like I said, I don't know a whole lot about it. I don't know how it all works. I just know it's a disaster. I feel like they should say, okay, here's the deal. We're going to let you go out, get out of your signing. We're going to give you X amount of dollars. Good luck wherever you go. That's what I would do, because it's going to be it's going to be nonstop stories and chaos if he enrolls. That's just how I believe. That's just what I believe. So, Cliff says tell Rashada to hit the damn road. Okay, Edgar, good stuff as always. I know you've been very, very busy. How can people check out your work?
OS Gators is the Twitter handle. I'll put my work there, and I'm pretty sure we'll be working on more of Rashada today. There is some potential scheduling something coming out that I'm going to report here in a little bit if I can finalize that. And got a big story on Kelly Ray Finley coming out soon, maybe Sunday, maybe next week. So people that are women's basketball fans hopefully will see that, because that's an impressive young woman who's doing some great things with a group of young women over there that really kind of needed, some good news.
Awesome. Appreciate your time, Edgar.
Thanks, Shane.
As Edgar Thompson joins us on the Titan MR hotline at Chris Doring Mortgage. They do mortgage lending right, helping home buyers throughout Gainesville and North Central Florida. Call Chris Doring Mortgage today at 352-244-0840. Appreciate everybody joining in and joining our program. We'll be here at same time, same place tomorrow. Have a great day. Take care, folks.